is a difference between you and me. We both looked into the abyss. But when it looked back at us, you blinked.
Hi guys, Angreifer here, and this is a DC Legends video. In this video, thanks to the Patreons that voted, the thousands of Patreons, and by thousands it's less than 1,000, less than 100, less than 10, but thank you to the Patreon that voted, because I am now going to make a Barda versus Clayface versus. Now, to me, this seems a little bit obvious who's better. However, context does matter, and it does depend very strictly on what you're using them for. Now, what I'm going to do is go through my same routine, my same spiel. I'm going to say this as I've done this for like decades, and I have not. But I'm going to go ahead and go down the list of things that they need to be able to do. So, we have damage. We have versatility, we have crowd control, we have survivability, we have buffs, we have debuffs, and we have speed. So as I go through this, I'm laughing because like it's going to be hard to judge survivability and crowd control on this one, okay? However, I do have some kind of like earlier indications, but and other ways of thinking about it. However, both of these are, to me, two of the best taunters in the game, just for what I like to do with taunters now. Before it was like a more like a retaliation / evasion taunt that I like. Now I like beefy taunters that just like stay alive and keep annoying the enemy basically by constantly getting taunt. So with them, they are both good at what they do. However, Clayface does have a slight advantage at something that I didn't realize until like a couple weeks ago. So in any case, before we get into that, I drop DC Legends videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Marvel Future Revolutions videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Raid Challenges videos every week. So please like, please subscribe, and if you don't like it, hit subscribe and hit dislike. I'm okay with that as well. Now, what we're going to do is go into their kits. This is going to be kind of stats heavy as well, I guess, because I'm trying to figure out like, how exactly do I judge survivability for two tanky taunters, right? And part of it's going to be agility, and then their int ups is what's going to determine their special damage defense, and their physical damage defense goes into it along with their HP pool. But both of them, in terms of HP, are right at the same level. That's where I judge. That's how I judge the tanky taunters now, is based on Barda, Clayface, and Grundy. So let's go ahead and get into Barda's kit first. So, Barda on Planet Breaker. Damage to an enemy, gain 4 stamina ups, 100% additional damage if Barda is taunting. 100% of 0 is still 0. She does no damage on her A1. That's just straight up. No, on her A2. Gain taunt and apply 5 stamina ups and 15% turn meter up to all allies. The 15% turn meter I never really realized, but you see it. Also gains 6 mins, which is great for her, but terrible when she's facing Black Manta. Now, I was going back for the 4 stamina ups. That does help her with survivability because it increases the HP pool. So, damage to an enemy and apply stun. Apply 2 permanent stamina ups and 2 mins to all allies, which is pretty great, which is pretty awesome, actually. I don't use her A3 nearly as much as I should. Passive ability. 70% chance to gain 28, 30% of booked, turn meter, and 2 mins each time Barda takes damage. 50% chance to use Strength of the New Gods, which is her A2, after Blessing of New Genesis. So it's like basically like a 35%, well, 25% chance of using, not even 25%, because it's a 70% chance to use the passive ability when she gets hit, which procs a lot, as all of you know. And then after that, there is a 50% chance for her to use Strength the New Gods, Strength in the New Gods. So overall, this passive, this 4, makes her a nightmare. That is what is making her a nightmare. Then on the last passive ability, Resilience of Apokolips. At the beginning of each enemy turn, 38% chance to gain death immunity if Barda has 5 or more strength up or stamina ups, which she always does, And Big Barda starts the battle with Taunt, which is something new from their rework like a couple months ago, which made her, which like just brought her right back into the forefront of the game. So that is Barda's kit. And I'm going to go ahead and do this now and check her stats. So as far as strength, we don't care about strength because who's dealing more damage? Both of them suck at damage. If I was giving the damage nod, I mean, they both suck at damage. Damage is not their thing. I mean, I'm going to get, I guess I'll go by strength for them because really, like, and then if it's within 100, then does it even matter? So you have 1400 plus, let's say 900 since I knocked off that. So then you have 2300, sorry. So then you have 2300. So 2300 is her strength. Her agility is sat at 2100. Her intelligence is sat at 1700 thereabouts. I'm just doing a lot of rounding here. And then her HP is right at 42,000. Okay. So as I look at it, just to double check to make sure I did the math right. Yeah, that's that. Like yeah, that's that. All right. So let's go on to Clayface. Clayface's ability that I didn't realize before was that, well, I'll go into it once I go into it. So now on this A1, damage to an enemy, apply speed down and steal one buff from the target. That one buff steal is very, very useful when you have him running under Lex because that counts as him getting a buff. And so then that leads to the overheal. Roar of the Monster. Gain 3 taunts. Apply invisibility to other teammates. Apply 10% agility up to all allies. Agility up duration +1. Before I go to legendary point, the reason why this is great is because even when his taunts are stripped, and he has a lot of taunts, but they don't, let's say they all get stripped, then the rest of your team is still invisible, which means that he's still the taunter. He's still the taunter. And this is something that's going to make it very difficult for me to decide who's better at crowd control. We'll get into that later. Legendary point used at start of battle and start of any turn when Clayface has invisibility and no taunt. And I'm back. All right, so use at start of battle and at start of any turn when Clayface has invisibility and no taunt, which is just kind of weird because he never really gives himself invisibility, right? So anyway, Mudslide. Damage to all enemies, apply 2 speed downs. If Clayface is taunting, gain an overheal, which I didn't even realize, but if he's taunting, he gets an overheal there. Okay. Must not be much of one if I hadn't noticed. Passive ability. When attacked, 55% chance to apply silence on the attacker. If Clayface is taunting, also steal 1 positive immunity from the attacker. That was one I didn't really realize either. He does a great job of stealing. Reformed Criminal. This is awesome ability as well. Immune to critical hits. When Clayface reaches 0 HP, 30% chance to gain overheal, 30% chance per invisible character on either team. Purge all bleeds and negative immunities on Clayface at the start of his turn, which is great for survivability. Now, bleeds aren't really necessarily a thing, but even the negative immunities and stuff like debuff immunity or buff immunity, like, that's good. That's really, really good. Let's go to his stats. Dadgummit. Okay, so this is I'm going to determine strength, period. Because both of them don't hit worth a damn. Strength, he has 1500 plus 900 since I took that away, which puts him at 2400. Their strength, because I'm just rounding, is like right at the same thing. So for that, like it's 100 difference. He, like less than 100, a little bit more than 100, but it's not a whole big difference. So I'm gonna give damage to both. It's a tie. Like with that little bit of a difference, I'm not gonna lean that one way or the other. All right, now as far as it comes to dealing with physical damage, Barda had agility of 2100. He has an agility of 2000. Dealing with special damage, Barda had 1700. He has like 1550. 15, yeah. He has 1530. So that's like a 200 difference. And as far as HP, He's less. He has 39, let's say 4,000, and she has 42,000. I mean, however, the buffs that he has does lend towards him surviving the purging bleeds, the purging any negative immunities. However, in the agility ups means that he's going to be better against physical damage that he gives himself, right? He gives agility ups to himself. Yeah, he gives himself 10 agility ups. So that means he's better against physical damage at that point. But she gives herself stamina ups. Barda gives herself stamina ups, which means that she has a deeper HP pool, which, yay. But if somebody hits you hard as hell, this is the reason why the Terra-Barda combination was such a nightmare for a little while. Terra gives a whole bunch of agility ups. Barda gives a bunch of stamina ups. So the HP pool is deeper, but then at the same time, physical damage is less. So then your Arcus cannot one-shot your Azrael anymore because Arcus is physical damage, and if Azrael has a much deeper HP pool and is more resistant to physical damage, then Arcus can't do anything with it. That's why Starfire had to come in, because special damage was going to be able to take that out. Ugh, and all those agility ups just make him eat. Survivability, is that supposed to be a tie now too? Like, basically down this whole thing is going to be a tie. She has a deeper HP pool. He's better against physical defense. Both of them suck against special defense. Well, suck. All those agility ups versus all those stamina ups. Survivability, it has to be a tie. I know I'm skipping down, but I was just looking at those stats. Survivability has to be a tie, right? Tell me if I'm crazy. Like, let me know in the comment section. Let me know if I'm crazy. Okay. Versatility. They're mirror images of each other, except they're not mirror images of each other. They give their team a crap ton of buffs to help their team survive, and that is good in PvE or PvP or Nightmare Campaign or wherever, for however you're going to use them, depending on the affinity matchup, which is why I built them the way I did. Depending on the affinity matchup, either works. Either works. Is this going to be the versus that has like a tie? Like, they're both versatile. You can put them anywhere as taunters. And the situations where Clayface won't work is also situations where Barda won't work. Like against Wonder Girl. Clayface gets wrecked by Wonder Girl, and so does the entire team. Barda may be able to stand up to the whip a little bit better, but in the meantime, the rest of her team is dead. And she ain't killing nobody. So versatility-wise, they're the same. Crowd control. I was all set to give Barda crowd control just because every time she gets hit, she does, well, not every time, but 70% chance to use for that passive to proc, and then a 50% chance for her to use her A2 after that passive procs. So that means she's keeping taunt on her constantly. The problem is that Clayface, when it comes to his buffs, even if you remove the taunt from him, he still has everyone else invisible, which means that your focus is still going to be on Clayface. However, if you remove the invisibility, remove all that stuff, he's open. If you remove her taunt and all that stuff, but then you hit her, she'll still gain the taunt, and then you have to wait for him to get his turn back. So crowd control is going to go to Barda. And I don't know that I explained that clearly enough, so I'll try that again. So basically, because his crowd control is based on taunt, is based on him laying down taunt and invisibility. So he has, let me go back, because I'm sitting here just squawking with nothing in the background but his freaking kit. Let's go ahead and drop. Oh, I need to do a PvP mission. So let's just drop this into a match that I'm destined to lose. Oh, okay, let's use those two against Wonder Girl and see what happens, right? We'll drop Azrael in just to be obnoxious. Actually, there was this one comp that I wanted to try, but I won't do it now. Azrael, and then, you know what, let's go ahead and put Grundy in for fun. I don't know, maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. Who cares? All right, so basically why I'm giving crowd control to Barda is that with Clayface, If you strip him of his taunt, but everyone still has invisibility because you gave him all invisibility, then he is still effectively crowd controlling because you're only going to be able to see him. However, if you have if you strip the invisibility and strip the taunt, then everybody's up as free game. So all of his crowd control is based on his buffs, which all of them are. However, follow me here. If you hit him again or do whatever, he's not going to get the taunt back. You have to wait till that ability is off of cooldown and then go at him and then go at it again. Hopefully that A2 will be off cooldown, then you can use it. Barda, that's not the case. But Barda, if you hit her and she procs the right way, then she's very likely, and you guys have seen it, she's very likely to get her taunt back. So in terms of crowd control, I'm giving that to Barda. Buffs. He gives invisibility and agility ups. She gives stamina ups and mins. That was a terrible go. Let me actually build a team for this. Actually do something. I'm loving using King Shark, by the way. Or do I want to do a, you know what? Do I have one set already? I'm going to do an evasion team because one of my Patreons, you know who you are, asked for a video about evasion teams versus, can't remember what he said. It was evasion teams versus something. And I just asked him back, like, in what context? Because as soon as he explains the context a little bit further, I'm making that video. So let's go ahead and do that. Arsenal is, yes, now on my evasion team. Then we will do Harley Quinn and we will do Cassandra Cain. We are destined to lose. All right, so buffs, taunt, that's a wash. Agility ups versus stamina ups. That could be considered a wash. However, agility ups improves against physical damage. Stamina ups improves against physical and special damage just because the HP pool deepens, not necessarily for any other reason. So there is that. However, depending on the situation, you may want the stamina ups over the agility ups, but then depending again on the situation, you may want the agility ups over the stamina ups. So then that's a wash. And then you have Mins, which does heal, but you have invisibility, which protects, and he does it team wide. So buffs might be a wash. Are you freaking kidding me? They don't. Is there any other buff? He steals buffs. The stealing buffs, is that a plus? Because they're not his buffs. He's stealing. So that's almost like he's debuffing. I've never counted that before. Well, because I don't think I've had to review a tune so far that has that. Steals buffs. I'm legitimately like stuck here. I think buffs is a tie as well. Out of 5 categories, 4 of them are a tie. Are you kidding? So yeah, buffs is a tie as well, because that's what they do. They buff. That's how they make the rest of the team better. That's why you want them as taunters. And now debuffs, that goes to Clayface, right? Because now let me go back. And I just took him off that little thing. So let me go back. Let me go back. Because I was leaning towards Clayface being the debuff winner. She does give taunt, but that's the only buff she gives. He steals buffs. Should stealing buffs be considered a debuff? Because you're debuffing, you're taking the buff, you're unbuffing. So if you're unbuffing, is that debuffing or are you just unbuffing? I don't know. I'm genuinely asking right now. Taunts, fine, turn meter, invisibility. Mud Slidey applies 2 speed downs. When attacked, he does give silence. He purges all bleed, that's helping him. So he steals buffs, applies silence, and applies speed down. She does stun. Stun is a more useful buff when you can get it to go. However, speed downs, can be useful, not as useful as stun. Silence is useful, not as useful as stun. Stealing buffs If I count that as a debuff, it's awesome. And I have nowhere else to put the stealing buffs as a category. Except for he's unbuffing / debuffing. So he gives more buffs, plus he steals buffs. So shouldn't that mean that debuffs go to Clayface? That's what I'm about to do. Even though I like stun over the other ones, I think Clayface gets it. So now it comes down to speed. And here's the stupid part. Speed goes two ways. Which way do you want it to be? So like the faster the tune is, the more often they can put taunt on themselves. Right? So then it's not that you love speed in the way you will love it for Black Flash. You love speed in the way that it's like, okay, well, if I happen to lose taunt and I'm going faster, then I'll be sure to get that taunt back relatively quickly. You don't want them to be, like Grundy's pretty slow, especially in the beginning, but he stacks speed ups. But I don't want like someone said they wanted Grundy to be slow, but not in a world where the taunts can be stripped. Then if the taunt is stripped and he's slow, then the rest of your team is vulnerable while he's getting his speed back up so you can get the taunt back on. So faster is better. So whoever has, right now we have a tie at damage, tie at versatility, Barda took crowd control, tie at survivability, tie at buffs, Clayface took debuffs. Whoever's the fastest wins. Okay? Like, Barda's my favorite. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I think Barda's better than Clayface. However, if I'm looking at it from an objective point of view, or trying to be as objective as possible, everything's a freaking wash with these two. Like, everything is basically the same, which is why I guess I like Clayface as well. But they both do a lot of the same stuff in order to keep the team alive and help the team like with more survivability. So like, what am I really arguing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I went into this like, oh yeah, well it's clearly gonna be Barda, and now it's like, it's clearly a tie. Except for speed is the last category. And so we're gonna go to speed down to the 1. And then whoever has the fastest, that's who I'm calling the winner. All right? All right. But she does get turn meter. No. All right, so speed is 23 plus or 73 plus 23. It's gonna be 96, right? So Clayface has 96 speed. She does get turn meter though. I just realized that now. That's gonna infuriate me. Because I did make that argument for Starfire being faster with Ark, as he has the speed up, and then she gains turn meter when something goes down, which didn't want to say that. Trying to keep it PG. Damn. So that means if she gives turn meter to her allies, well, let's see. Does she give turn meter to herself or does she give it to her allies? Let's see. I think she gives it to herself. If she gives it to her allies, she's speeding up the team, but she isn't faster herself. So Barda, let me know. Let me know. It says apply 15% turn meter to all allies, not necessarily to her. But that does go to her as well, right? Well, let's see. If she's just faster outright, then I don't have to worry about this too much. But if she's giving turn meter to the rest of the team, hello, will back work or not? What's going on? All right. So let's see these stats. Speed, dum, 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 is 79 plus 23, which puts her at, wait, did I do math wrong in the last one? No, it puts her at 102. So Barda is faster by 6. So speed goes to Barda. Therefore, Barda wins in versus. This is stupid though. Like, I did not realize they were that close. I knew they were close and very similar, which is why, like, with her and Clayface, I pushed them up before I even pushed Grundy because they are built a lot similarly. Grundy's great, don't get it twisted, but like, he doesn't help the rest of the team survive the way that these two do. So yeah, Barda wins on speed. Wow. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'm also going to put up a poll on Patreon. Actually, and so you know, with the Patreon, I'm going to make the poll public so you can vote on the poll. But the rest of the content is for Patreon members only, so that just stays with them. But the poll is going to be public. And then in the Patreon, as I gather in it, I'm going to do an extended version of this video. I'm not doing it today. I'm going to do it another day, but I am going to do an extended version. So like I'm filming this on Wednesday. By the time this is released on Friday, I will have an extended version coming up for you guys on Patreon. So as I say goodbye to my two YouTubers, thank you guys for watching so much. Please like, please subscribe. Check out the link to the Patreon below if you want to become a Patreon. It would be greatly appreciated. I actually just released the Patreon advice for Darkseid. He became a Patreon, and I put his roster advice up, I want to say yesterday, as of when this video is coming out, Thursday, I believe. I had a lot of fun doing that. Sent me his roster, went through every character for him, and then put that up on Patreon only. So, in any case, but if you want to join the Patreon, check out the link below. If you want to support the channel with other things like the long Halloween or whatever, check out the links below. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through, and I'll see you next time.